Hi everyone, welcome back. It is 7:30 a.m. on my day off, but there's so much I have to look at on my car that I need every waking hour that I can to maybe fix it. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, and I know I say it every week, but please consider doing so because it helps me a ton when it comes to the algorithm, when it comes to ad revenue, reach, etc. It just helps. It is. It's a big help. And it's also the most cost-effective way that you can help out the channel. It's free. So there's that. But a direct way that you can help out the channel is to go to GleasonBrosRacing.com, get your channel merch, get your race team merch. It's all very affordable, and it's all high quality stuff that I haven't heard a single complaint about yet. So please go over there, check it out at least. I've wanted to go make new stuff for that for a long time, but I feel like the busiest man in the world between the family, race car, job, home, everything, my dad's truck that I've been, playing around with. Anyway, so I just wish I could get on there and make some more stuff, but I'll get to that eventually, I'm sure. But we're back to work on the car immediately. And by immediately, I mean I pulled it out of the trailer yesterday and put it in the air and did a couple of minor inspections just to see if I could find something wrong with the car. I'm going to skip a lot of the formalities this week, and I'm just going to dive right into what I've been doing. I did take the rear end cover apart because I had a bad vibration in the driveline. And so I took a look inside at the gears and everything, and you know what? It's funny, they look perfect. I mean perfect. I even took the caps off of the drive shaft, which have been a problem for me a lot in at least the last few years, because they always fail, and I've only ever used like Speedway Motors garbage parts, and I'm kind of sick of them, and I'm just going to let this one die and put my nice new Spicer one in when it does. But I didn't find any problem with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the drive shaft completely out and probably pull both yokes apart and just inspect both of them. Now I also have brand new U-joints for both of them. It's just kind of time consuming. Not a huge deal though. That's a good maintenance item. And if I don't find anything, I might have to pull the carrier out of the rear end and check the bearing races just to be safe. I don't know if it's going to make a difference or not. I don't feel anything, so I might not even pull it apart to begin with, because I'm wondering if it's cupping in the bearing race, but I didn't feel anything. So if I'm sitting there rolling it over, oh, I did feel something, but it wasn't in the bearings. I remember now. I put new spider gears in this thing, and it feels like they've got little shims as bearings to kind of hold the oil into the races on both sides and slide across the face of the carrier. They felt like they were hanging up a little bit, so I'm gonna have to pull the spider gears out at least. So we're gonna have to do that. We're pulling the drive shaft apart. I'm gonna take the yoke in the back of the transmission and see if it moves, and if it moves even the slightest little bit, we're yanking the transmission out too. Besides that, we got other problems. We got power issues. We got a brake hang up on the left rear. We've got handling issues where the setup isn't right. I'm just gonna backtrack on the one change that I made to make the car terrible. Anyway, so I gotta pull the carburetor apart and probably clean that out and rebuild it. I want to check the fuel filter. I want to check the fuel pressure. I want to check the engine. I gotta do compression tests. I've got to do, it's just so much. Like, I'm already forgetting what to do next, so I think we'll just dive in the back of the car because it's already open. We're already working on it, and I can already climb under it and see what to do. And then I got to go on here and start writing more notes. We took the drive shaft out, and I've been moving the yokes around and trying to see if there's any play or any weird feelings or anything, and it is just buttery smooth. Usually if these end caps go bad, I can kind of move them like this and feel that there's something grabbing it. This time I can't, and I pulled the caps off and they looked perfect. So I'll probably just grease that and just shove it back in. It doesn't seem to be a problem. I don't think that's our vibration. I also went through the entire rear end. I pulled the spider gears out. They're brand new. They looked like they were just kind of wearing in. Seemed fine. And then I moved the carrier and everything, and that was butter smooth, pinion butter smooth. Everything was just great. I mean, I didn't notice a single problem or anomaly or hard spot or anything in that. So at this point, I think it's going to come down to finding the vibration through two things. It's going to be either in the transmission or it's going to be this brake that's been hanging up. I don't know which one it is. But I've also seen a couple of witness marks on the transmission where there's oil coming out of it. And I don't know. It's kind of iffy. And every voice in my head is saying, change it. It's not like I don't have options. I got that one right there. That's a brand new build. That one is an older build, but I refreshed it with all new bearings. And I also have a brand new one sitting in the trailer as a spare. So I have 3 transmissions just kind of sitting here ready to go. I might as well just pluck this one out, inspect it, because it's kind of strange. I can hear a little bit of a gear whine or a little something, but now there's a vibration. And I drove this transmission all of last year and all of this year so far. And I mean, there's nothing saying that there's anything wrong with doing that, because transmissions are usually pretty decent, but with the load that we're putting on it and with the cheap parts that exist nowadays, you never know if a roller bearing goes bad, or because there's roller bearings all in it, all in the bottom, the lower cluster shaft here. There's roller bearings in that. There's roller bearings here. And I mean, you never know. So I think the vibration is very similar to a roller bearing failure of some kind, whether it be in the drive shaft or in the transmission. So I think we're just going to play it safe. I have time today. It's going to suck and it's going to be heavy, but we're going to just pluck the transmission out. We're going to throw a fresh one in and cross our fingers that hopefully everything's okay. I'm also, while I have it apart, going to check the throwout bearing. I have a spare of that just in case, but we're going to check that too. With a vibration of that nature, that's not normal. And people will say, oh, well, it's your tires. You don't balance them. No, it isn't. Because if it was, I'd feel it every race. Okay? I usually don't feel any vibration from the tires whatsoever. And this is a new one, and it's in the drivetrain. So we need to find it. And we need to find it now. So if we have the time to go through every single piece and fix it now, especially since it's Sunday and we don't go back until Friday, and it's only probably 9 a.m. at this point, we need to do it. It's just smart. We don't want to leave anything to chance and say, it's probably fine. Probably fine means you're going on the back of a tow truck or being pushed in. Transmission's in and hooked up, should be tight. I checked the throwout bearing and all of the rest of the stuff in the clutch that I could visually inspect. It seemed okay. Throwout bearing rolled really nice and clean, didn't have any sort of hard spots or loud noises or anything, so I'm thinking that should be okay. So now I'm going to try to track down why the left rear brake caliper is hanging up. The last caliper hung up, we bought a new one, that one's hanging up too. So I'm really kind of wondering why that is. And also, apparently the knurls on the lug studs are so long, they're actually like capturing the damn brake rotor, and I can't get it off. So I'm wondering if it's seating properly as well. So I'm gonna take the rotors off. I'll probably grab a rubber hammer and try to knock them off, or a rubber dead blow hammer or something, try to get them off, clean them up. And I might try to like deburr those knurls try to knock them down a little bit because they're locking the rotor up. I don't even know, like I said, don't know if it's seating properly. So we're going to try to do that first, see if that helps. Doubtful, because when we put the wheel on, we torque the lugs and it should be facing it, but I don't know. So we'll check it there. Then I'll probably put everything, the whole assembly back together, caliper, rotors, pads, everything back on, bolt something to it so it can't come off, and make sure it's straight, and then pump the brake pedal a whole bunch, and then just kind of leave it, and then crack the bleeder and see if it fires out. If it fires out, I'm wondering if it's holding pressure somehow, and if it doesn't, well, then I'm kind of lost, and I might just start going through the piston, maybe pumping the brakes, let the piston come out, and then just like tighten a clamp and clamp it back in, and just do that like 15 times and see if that helps, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, it is the next day. I usually don't work today, except I have so much to do that I have to take every waking moment that I have in order to get this thing done. And I'm on parts that I've bought more times than I probably should have this year already, and we'll probably end up getting rained out anyway. But I gotta get working. I have to have it ready regardless, no matter what the case is. I got oil to fill the rear up with. I got a replacement caliper from my local Napa. Can't be any worse than the Speedway Motors junk I've been putting in. I got all sorts of tools hanging around. I don't even know what the shock is doing here. I think it was just in my toolbox and I took it out for some reason. I don't know, I've been out of it lately. I've got a fuel pressure regulator I want to try because I noticed that I'm pumping a lot of fuel pressure to the pump. I think it's like 9 PSI. It's like way too much. So I want to tone that down. I've got a spring over there that I got to fix because I think one of them's going bad. I'm going to have to pull it out and measure it, but whatever. We're going to have to do that later. Again, I've got so much going on that I had to make a list because I am forgetting half of it. So I'm just going to start right at the beginning where I was before with the brake caliper, because we bought one at the track, and it's not the person who sells them's fault because they got them from Speedway, and I had Speedway ones on my car. But as we all know together, Speedway Motors parts are freaking garbage, and I had to censor myself because I wanted to say much worse, but I can't because I try to make this a family show. Either way, I'm going to try replacing it yet again and hope for the best. And if that damn brake caliper doesn't work, it'll be the third one on the car this year. I don't know what to do. I'll just quit. I don't care. Making some progress on our brakes. Yeah. Okay. That was fingers crossed. That was as much as I could do there. That kind of hurt. I don't think our problem is caliper related. See, I had these brand new calipers that we bought, and I said, well, for some reason, this just is not working. It seems to be hanging up. Maybe when I sanded the brake pads, I made sure that they were square, and there might have been some kind of deviation in the bracket so that they might be wearing a different way. Well, I said, you know what? Maybe our problem actually is the bracket. This is what I run. This is the All-Star bracket that you can buy for a GM 10-bolt, 7.5-inch rear. And it fits the factory flange where the drum brakes would go on. However, these axles do not have provisions for C-clip eliminators. You know, the 4 bolts at the end, like a lot of other possible 10 bolts, like at 8.5 or something like that. These are much harder to work on for no obvious reason. But these are the brackets that I run because they're pretty much bolt on and they fit a metric caliper, which is what I have back here. Now I'm like, what if the bracket got bent somehow? I don't know how, but what if it got bent? I don't know. We have to get rid of every opportunity or any sort of variable. So I took my dial calipers here, well, digital ones, and I ran the base of it to the end of, say, the rotor, and I ran the end all the way in, resting on the end of the rotor, kind of like this, on the edge, because they are flat up top, to the top and the bottom of these brackets. And I found out that this one was inboard 1/10 of an inch, meaning those brakes are misaligned. Luckily, I had another one, which wasn't very good. I bought another set, but they didn't come out very well. Like the quality or the what do you call it? Quality control, I guess, isn't very good. I had to take it and I put it in my press, and I basically straightened it myself.
until I got it to a point where now from the rotor face to the bracket, it's 30 thousandths of an inch of deviation between the two. And I said, you know what? Close enough. I stuffed the rotor on, I stuffed the caliper on, I put the whole thing together, I rolled it, and it feels a lot more similar to the right side, especially with all the gear drag and stuff. So I know that was a lot to go through, but you know what? I think we might finally have the brake problem on the ropes, and maybe I can finally move on after hours and hours of work. All right, I think that's enough for today, though. I got to get this place a little bit cleaned up. We've done so much work, though. I mean, I've gone through the rear end completely. I've gone through the drive shaft completely. We changed the transmission. We looked at the clutch and the throw-up bearing. I went through the rear suspension, the rear brake. We found the bent thing. I mean, we're only 2 days into this already, and I've still got a lot of work to do. I've got more stuff coming. I've got a lot of stuff here that I need to do. Like, we're going to give it a basic tune-up. I'm going to change the distributor. I'm going to change the spark plugs. We're going to do a compression test. I might do a leak down if I have time. I don't really know. I'm going to check the valves. I'm going to check everything. But a compression test will tell us what we need to know at this point. So I'll start with that because the plug's got to be out to do that. Then I'll put fresh ones in. Like I said, I don't know if the distributor's going bad either. This is just a huge process. There's so many things to do right now. It's just an unbelievable task ahead of me. But we're getting through it. And I'm working on days where I don't even work on cars. So I will clean up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Right back at it the next day. There's so much to do that I forgot how much of it there is. So I'm going to have to go and revert to the list, which is over here somewhere. Let's see, I got to put a new distributor in it just to eliminate that as a variable. Somebody in my comments mentioned something kind of interesting. They said, hey, check your timing light. That's actually a really good idea. Because I bought one of them expensive, kind of nice looking timing lights, when before I was just using an old Harbor Freight job and it had a dial on it. But do you trust the dial on a Harbor Freight Chicago electric timing light? No. All the way down and tape over it so it doesn't move, and then read the timing off of the balancer, not try to dial it into the 0 mark. So we're not doing that. But I can check it up against it if I find it. It's probably in my spare tools bin over there. I think we gotta just take a look through the carburetor, make sure nothing's leaking and nothing's plugged. I might just run a carb cleaner through it because I just bought a case of it, so I might just clean that up a little bit. I gotta undo the suspension problems that I tried this last race and clearly didn't work. I've got it into my head that now anytime I come up with some kind of idea that sounds good, I should just do the opposite because then it might work. Then we gotta do the major stuff, compression test. That's going to involve pulling all the spark plugs out, wiring the throttle blades open, and putting a really heavy-duty battery charger on the battery just to be safe and make sure that the thing doesn't lose any sort of electrical power so that we get consistent readings. So we're going to do that and cross our fingers. So we're going to make sure that all this stuff works, and the compression test is going to tell me a lot, but if it reads perfect, I'm basically going to change everything until it starts running right again. Tested at least the 3 timing lights that I have. See, this is, oh, it's Centec. Sorry, it's close enough, but the little, you trust this wheel? Anyway, that one's set to absolute 0, read exactly the same as, I don't know where it is. There it is up here. My nice Innova which was exactly the same as this D-celled battery performance tool. So, I don't know, we tried different ones. I'll be fair though, we did change the spark plugs because the ones I pulled out looked awful. So a nice fresh set of plugs, maybe that'll help. Maybe I had a fouled plug or something because we were running rich all year long until we put this carburetor on and then it started running good. I don't know, maybe it'll help, but I know my tools aren't wrong. And the distributor is very consistent, and I looked into it, and I looked in the cap, and I looked at the module, and I saw that they were less than a year old. So I'm like, you know what? If we had real distributor issues, it would probably not run or hiccup or pop or fart or do something stupid. This thing is pretty consistent. All the temperatures across every cylinder is normal. By the way, we did our compression test. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. And every single cylinder was within 5 of the next one. I didn't do it hot, I just did it cold. And a crate motor is like 9.1 to 1 compression, if that. So basically, I was seeing 140, 145 on a cold motor. I'm like, well, it's consistent. Everything's got gear oil, everything's good, everything's topped off. We fixed that left front suspension issue. I'm just waiting for Amazon to show up with my parts so that we can finish. Because I got one more fuel system thing coming. I'm just going to put it on and hope for the best. I don't know if it's going to do anything or not because I'm worried I got too much fuel pressure, so I'm just kind of maybe taper that back a little bit. I got another gauge coming, so because I tested it and it looked high, I want another gauge so that I can cross-reference it. I don't have another one. Mine's like 30 years old, so I don't know if it's good or not. But as I wait for that guy, I'm probably going to have to wrap it up because I have to get that part. And I can't take the car off jack stands until I get it so that I can finish it. So I guess we will see you guys tomorrow, barring any sort of miracle. Fresh as a daisy from work, I am back for the next day. And I have some plumbing to do because I think that we have a problem with something very basic that I don't know, I haven't really paid much attention to, and I really should have. Now, I think I have a fuel problem, but not in the way that you'd think. I don't have a fuel pressure regulator on my car, which I used to run one religiously, but the setup wasn't that great. And I had like barbed fittings on it, and it was, I didn't like it because it wasn't as tight as having AN fittings on it, and I didn't want it to leak from vibration, so I kind of got rid of it. But whenever I check my fuel pump with I have a little fuel pressure gauge, not this guy, I have a different one. I'm trying to free it from this thing. I have this one that's actually kind of an inline one that is hella old. I mean, this thing is probably 30 years old, but it is accurate. It is absolutely accurate. I have checked the fuel pressure on this car with this and with other gauges, and it says like 9. Now, with a carbureted application, Holleycarbs in this case at least, you don't want to see more than like 6, maybe 7 psi of fuel pressure. And I know it doesn't sound like an extra amount, but 9 is too much. It just is. And if we've got 9 psi going to that needle and seat that's only supposed to see about 6, 6.5, we might be having an issue where it is under a heavy load, pushing an excess amount of fuel, and it could be doing it through the vent tube. It could be doing it through the ports. It could be doing it through the body itself. It could be doing it in any number of places. So I'm going back to a fuel pressure regulator. Now, the one that I have has a return line in it to like kind of push off excess fuel. I see it's kind of a fancy thing. I was thinking about running it because I do have the provisions for a return line right there in my fuel cell. And instead of it deadheading, I know it may be overcomplicated. It might be over this and that. But you know what? I think it might help, you know, especially with how hot it is under the hood. Maybe it'll help a little bit. So it can't hurt, you know. So I think we're going to throw that fuel pressure regulator in it and just kind of use it. I might even refresh the needle and seat in the carburetor. I might take that back off and just put a new needle and seat in it because I don't know how old it is. And if I put a new one in, which I have right in my toolbox, 2 steps away from the front end of my car, it won't hurt. It really won't. I mean, we had an issue with my brother's car at New Hampshire that one time, and we thought it was perfectly fine. We've never really ran the carburetor that much, maybe a handful of races, and the needle was so corroded from sitting because it was such a long time between that it stuck. So maybe a little preventative maintenance might be a measure as well. So with it not running, it would be way easier for me to take it out too. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do that, and we'll see what happens. But I got to get plumbing. And boy, if there's somebody who has enough AN lines to do a whole other race car, it sure is me. Because, boy, there's a lot here. I think this might be my Dash 6. I think this is that Teflon stuff. PTFE, whatever it is. Let's see. I got some Dash 8 PTFE. I think I got some Dash 6 rubber. Yeah. I don't know. We'll dig around. We'll see what we got. All right, I've run a bunch of tests, and the only thing that I've really figured out, and the only thing that I've learned, is that my memory is terrible. I checked the fuel pressure with that fuel pressure regulator that I had over here, and you'll notice it's on the ground falling out of my garage because it doesn't work. It doesn't do a damn thing, no matter if I run the thing all the way in or out. Nothing changed, and all it did was leak all over my floor. Now, back to this thing. I just hooked the hose from the pump back up with the pressure gauge, and it said 7¼ pounds. Rev it up, rev it down, or just do whatever. It's 7 pounds. That's all it is, no matter what I do. And so I said, okay, I'm going to figure out if the distributor is spark chattering. So I ran a whole mess of tests. I think I did at least 4 or 5 different pulls on the thing, with different settings in the advanced thing and lockout and all this other stuff. And I came to a bunch of different conclusions. I learned a bunch out of that. And I got it set right now to where I'm going to try it where it is different from what I had it. But based on the timing light itself, I like what I saw. So I'm pretty sure I tightened that down. Next, I'm going to just kind of once over the car. I'm looking back at the list. I don't see anything left on the list. So I think I'm just going to once over the car, and I think we're just going to throw the wheels on it and maybe put it on pads because tomorrow's Thursday. We have to load it up, and I'd really rather get a jump on having it scaled today than have to wait for tomorrow. And it should be really close as it is. I should go grab the gas out of the trailer just so I can get that number with it full for the beginning of the race and then check it for the end and do whatever. So, all right, we're going to run a bunch of numbers. We're going to go take a look at whatever we need to take a look at and make sure everything's tight. I just got done with her on scales, and you know what? Didn't take a lot to get the number I wanted either. It was pretty much right where we were to begin with. I just kind of put a round in the right rear and shook it a little bit, and we were right back to normal. So that's how far off we were. You know what I mean? We people look at us like, oh, well, you know, you're making too many changes. It's like, well, one round of wedge put us right back on the number, and I just adjusted one thing. That's how close we should be, is I make an adjustment and we notice it. That's pretty much what's happening. So I do try, and I don't know if I'd mentioned this before or not, but when people constantly admonish me for making a lot of changes, again, if you get your car to be a third place car and you're content with luck having to fall into your lap in order to win races or succeed, well, then you're not working hard enough. I'm working my ass off every week and trying my best to learn. I was never the setup guy when we raced forever. I was just a mechanic until I started racing my own car. And then the rules changed all the time, so I'm trying to keep up with that. And now I'm somewhere where it's fixed, and I'm like, well, geez, now it's a completely different track, and I'm essentially starting from square one with what is essentially a brand new car. So, you know, stuff happens. You got to do things right, or else you're not going to win, and I want to win, and I'm not content with sitting there with a third place car and hoping that the guys ahead of me break down. That's a terrible way to go about things. So, like I said, we got pretty close with the numbers. I went through the brakes. I went through the front end. I checked the ride heights. I did everything we normally do. Wrote all my notes down, and I guess I'll come back tomorrow and check tow and load her in the box. So, made my life easier for tomorrow, and that was pretty much the goal for today. And I think that's enough. I'm tired. I'm going inside. I'm going to go hang out with my cats because nobody else is home. And I will see you guys tomorrow for load up day. All right, it is load up day, and I don't feel good. I haven't really slept of any real measurable amount, probably in 3 days. I feel like crap. I've had really bad acid reflux if I eat anything, and it keeps me up all night, and my cats keep jumping on me too because they're jerks, but they're okay. So I'm just looking around for what we got to load up. I got to do the tow on the car, and I got to load the trailer. So I'm looking to get this done as fast as possible so that I can go back inside and just crawl in bed because I don't feel like doing this right now. And we'll see if we can get through it. So I haven't eaten anything today. I don't want to, considering the last 3 days. And we're going to try our best to muscle through it. It is fractionally warmer out here. This is New England weather to a T. I just want to bring that up because it's hilarious how much you get for fluctuation out here. The high was 70. It's like July 29th, by the way. Like the depth of summer. Like we're in the dregs of it. It was 99, like not that long ago. It's like 70 to 72 the last 2 days. Tomorrow it's going to get back to normal, but we'll see what happens. So I've got to clean the car. I've got to load things up. So we got to hurry this up. She's in the box yet again, and I feel like I'm in a box right now, like a coffin, because I feel like I'm dead. I feel like crap. You can see the sweat on me. It's not even hot out. It's like 72 degrees. I don't know what the hell I got going on, but I need to go rest, and I need to go figure it out, but I think we're as ready as we can be. I've got a carburetor waiting for me. Thanks, Phil and Joe, for lining that up for me, because at least I can try something else that somebody knows is good. That way I can kind of ballpark it against what I got. Hopefully we won't have any issues of me getting over there to get that, but I'm going to try my hardest to get over there so that we can at least A to B it. That would be pretty great if we could at least figure out that that's not a problem, or if it is. So as I look through the endless mountain of crap that my garage has turned into, I'm getting out of here because I feel like garbage. It's probably not even 4 o'clock yet, but that's fine. I need to rest, and I'll see you guys, I guess, bright and early at the track tomorrow. Well, at least tomorrow afternoon, if it doesn't rain. All right, back in Stafford. Came through a few rainstorms, at least scattered showers at least. And I don't think we're we're gonna really have a problem with those. It seems to have touched here maybe, but it's already got the sun poking back out. Not that worried about it, so I think we'll probably get it in. We're gonna go off second again tonight. I believe they gave the late models another bit of grace and let them go first again. And we'll see what the changes do. We got a lot of stuff we're gonna be trying, and I'm gonna be trying another carburetor out in practice, hopefully. And we'll see if that's a problem or not. Ooh, vegetables. Anyway, race, whatever. Still don't remember what the heck date it is. I know we're past halfway, and this is the last race right before August, so we got pretty much August and most of September. I don't know if we're going into October or not, but we don't have a lot of time left in the season. power. I feel the thing laying over. It's power.
It's a little tight too.
It was a little tight, but power is our problem. We have no power.
Drinks.
I'll take the water.
Get out of the car.
Well, we're back in the shop after, I guess, quite a chaotic race. That was a little bit of a physical event, not really more than usual, I guess. Maybe, who knows? Meh, whatever, street stock racing, I suppose. Got a couple fenders to beat out. Nothing huge. The distributor I tried after the first practice, I'm not really sold on it. I think it's kind of junk, so I think I might put the old one back in because this one didn't run as good. Carburetor I borrowed was decent, but it's hard to tell because of everything else that's going on. Now, we learned a whole lot about what this car is doing and what's wrong with it based on this past race. And you know, I probably wouldn't have figured it out if we hadn't gone to these gears as well, because I learned a lot based off of that because I used everyone else as a yardstick. Now, what's happening is this past week I did that compression test on the engine. We had a very busy week, managed to get that done. I wrote all the numbers down on the valve covers. Now, I took all those numbers and I put them in my head and I went to the track and we had the lead for a few laps and then we couldn't hold anybody off because we don't have the power to do so. It's not the handles. It's not anything else. We don't have the power. And I thought, you know, it's a crate engine. If you refresh a crate engine, it should be kind of like new, right? You would refresh something, it's supposed to be like new. Well, when I bought this engine back in 2018, I think the build date's in 17 or something like that, I put it through about 40 races or so, something like that, and I checked the compression on it, and it was 160-ish, something like that. They're supposed to be about 170, 175. And so I said, you know, it seems like it's popping out the exhaust a lot. I'm wondering if the valve job is kind of junk because it's been a whole bunch of years and it's been winterized a whole lot. And, you know, it might just be time to refresh it. When Stafford came out with the rule that you can refresh the engines, we said, okay, let's give it a shot. So we did, and the motor felt pretty good, and we won a bunch of races. Well, two. We won a couple races. And we did pretty well for our first season and figured out a lot of stuff. And then come this year, I figured it would be a lot like when I first bought the engine. It would be, you know, decently powerful and sealed up. And I did that compression test. And then I conferred with the person who freshens the engines. And he's like, yeah, you're like, let's see, I got to do math with my fingers. 35 compression points lower on every cylinder than what fresh is. I'm like, so you're telling me after half as many races on a refresh than a new engine, it's already more dead than the old engine was with twice as many races on it. So now it needs to be refreshed again. And luckily, I have amazing people in my corner. I've got these folks at Northeast Truck and Off-Road. I've got Frank Jr., who's a family member, and these people just came to bat. Like, I said what the problem was, and that we're down on power and the engine needs a refresh, and I never even asked for anything. I didn't even ask. And overnight, I received enough money from both of them that we can just take the motor and get it fixed. But here's the key. Can the shop get it done in time? I don't know. So I have a phone call into them. I might start putting feelers out to see if I can find that person personally and try to get this thing to them sooner. But I got to do that. I got to make a bunch of phone calls. But I know I've been talking a whole lot, but, you know, we got a bunch of stuff to fix too. I had to take a sledgehammer to the nose. Poor thing got creased in. Somebody's bumper caved that in. I caved this corner in at least twice. It's not as bad as last week, though. I think it's just a little bit of dentage here and there, and we can just really hammer it back out, honestly. It's really not that bad. I do think that we have a bent axle in the rear, though. There's a vibration that's incurable, and I was checking it for round, and with the wheel off and the brake rotor off and everything, and it was kind of a little... So I think the rear might have to go. I'm not sure, for now at least. I mean, it would be a good spare. It runs fine. I mean, it drives great. It's just that we don't have a wheel drag. We don't have a brake drag. We don't have handling issues. We don't have carburetor issues. We don't have all these issues. The motor is just that tired. So I think we've finally figured it out. And we're going to have to do something about it. We're going to have to be very, very quick about it because I don't know if they're going to turn it around, like I said. I don't know what to do if they can't either because I can't miss a race either, considering the results of what happened post-race. I wouldn't say we're right back in it, but we're at least closer than we were, and things can happen quick. Like I saw in another division, the point leader was up by 50 points, which is literally an entire race, and he was up that much before the halfway point of the season. 4 races or 5 races later, he's in like third, back that many points. It's like this thing can change quick, especially if stuff starts happening. So if we can get the motor fixed, we'd be in business because this thing is really not that bad through the corners, and I think we can do something with it. I'm just tired of having, 30, 40 horsepower less than everybody else and getting yanked down the straightaways and pulled on starts and restarts. And we should have won 3 or 4 races being down that much horsepower. Simple as that. But you live and learn, and I mean, it takes a lot to figure stuff out sometimes. So thank you to Joe Brockett also for the use of his carburetor. It worked great, but hey, when the thing it's bolted to doesn't really work, it's hard for it to really make up a difference. You know what I mean? But guys, I got to end it off today so we can possibly start making some more phone calls. I already got a couple in, like I said, but I'm getting kind of desperate, even though it's only Saturday. If you want to help support the channel, you can go to GleasonBrosRacing.com, get some merch over there. I had a couple of comments from folks looking at my shirts, and you know what? I think I should wear them more to the track. Maybe I'll get more sales. Doubtful, but it doesn't matter. We'll get some. You can get some merch over there for the channel and the race team, like I mentioned. And we got a bunch of little things on the side, not just t-shirts. So also, you can subscribe to the channel. That's free, and you can also help support that way. And it does help quite a bit. It really does. So it helps with a lot of the computing and algorithms and revenues and all sorts of stuff. So if you can help me out with that, that would be great too. But we're into the final summer stretch run. There's like 9 races left on the schedule and 1 off week. So we're going to be grinding, and I'm really going to be if we're going to get this motor out and back in within the last 6 days. Stay tuned to the next video, I guess. So I'll see you guys next time.